Hey, what's going on guys? This is Divide and I got another Titan build that's going to finish enemies one after another. You're going to run around using swords to destroy everything in your path, explode everything using finishers whilst becoming Charge of Light to enhance this build, as well as improving your total DPS output to cause complete destruction. This is a pretty fun, explosive one, so if you like this one, leave a rating, comment and subscribe as it really helps a lot, and now let's get into it. Now before we start, I will briefly point out that the season is slowly coming to an end, which means as always, this build playlist will too, temporarily, until the next season starts, so if you missed any, you can check out that full playlist linked below. There will be 2 more videos joining that playlist after this one, so stay tuned, but if you need a little guidance to prepping for season 15, that is also linked below as well. But guys, no more delay, let's play. So this build will allow you to have an overshield whilst performing a finisher on adds that create elemental wells, give you ability energy, cause an explosion after finishing an add or getting a melee final blow, and you'll also have some increased benefits using some of the Charge of Light mods as well. But the very first thing you want to throw on is the exotic Severance Enclosure. This will allow powered melee kills and finishers to unleash explosions, and the size and damage of that explosion will depend on the target defeated. The more powerful the target, the greater the destruction. But this exotic wouldn't be as good without our first elemental well mod, Overload Wellmaker. Slot this into the Exotic Chest, which is an arc mod. This mod will spawn 2 arc elemental wells after defeating an enemy with a finisher, but we'll be collecting those elemental wells, so the next mod you'll need is the Elemental Charge. As this will allow you to become Charge of Light when picking up those wells spawned by the finisher, this can be slotted into any armor type, but it does need to be in the combat armor mod slot. The next combat style mod on our list is the Supercharged. Slot this into any solar armor, as this will allow us to hold up to 4 Charge of Light stacks at one given time, which is honestly one of the best mods to pair with Elemental Charge and Overload Wellmaker, because picking up those 2 elemental wells will give us 4 stacks of Charge with Light. Now your first of 2 crazy Charge of Light mods is the Reactive Pulse, where you emit a burst of damaging arc energy when you take damage while surrounded by enemies, and guys, I'm not kidding. Use this because when that burst hits enemies, they'll be ready to finish using your finisher, and then that finisher will just kill all the surrounding adds if Reactive Pulse hasn't already. Great combo for ad clearing in light activities. Next on the list though is Lucent Blade. This will increase your sword's damage for 5 seconds, consuming a Charge of Light stack, perfect to maximize your sword's DPS on bosses, but because both Charge of Light mods are arc, both secondary perks will be active, which means your Reactive Pulse's secondary perk will give you that powerful overshield when performing a finisher, and this can really save you in a lot of horrible situations in harder activities. But you can't use Lucent Blade without using a sword. Well, actually you can, but it'd pretty much be pointless, so just slot on a good sword to use of your preferred choice. Your best option would be the Lament, as it comes with a built-in anti-barrier mod, strong against those champions, and is just one of the best exotic heavy weapons in the game right now. But if you don't have this one as an option, you can also use this one right here as well, obtainable from Gunsmith at the tower and free for all players. Now if you're going with a legendary sword, Witherhoard is great to pair with it as your kinetic weapon. Otherwise, if you're going with the Lament, Salvager's Salvo or Ignition Code is also great. You could use a grenade launcher with blinding grenades to blind enemies first, then run in with your sword and completely melt the enemy. Great for end game content. However, those are all the main mods. Now let's fill in the remaining slots. So for your helmet, run 2 sword ammo finder mods. For your gauntlets, use the correct champion mod if required for any specific activity or activities. I went with impact induction, but you really don't need to. For your chest, concussive dampener and melee damage resistance are perfect for resisting incoming damage whilst you're running into strike with your sword. Sword scavenger for the legs, and for your class, Sundering Blast to cause more crazy AoE damage when stunning champions, and surge detonators if using a good high discipline stat build with an arc subclass. For me, I paired this build with a bottom tree striker and max discipline with pulse grenades, which I can use against those overload champions. But you really can use any subclass of your choice, which is what really makes the build so fun to use. For your optimized loadout in the end game, a good Godrule Hung Jury scout rifle for your kinetic or Witherhoard, a Salvager Salvo or an Energy Scout rifle, whichever you didn't use in the first slot, and the Lament or a good legendary sword for your heavy. For the subclass, Bottom Tree Striker was fun to add in some extra ad clearing. Now guys, that is all for my new Titan build using swords and the Severance Enclosure Exotic Chest. Next, if you all missed my previous builds, feel free to go check out that playlist below. But for now, give me your thoughts on this build and I'll see you all in the week for the final build video of the series. Stay tuned.